All right. Hello. Welcome back to episode 10 of the Author Podcast. It's been a while since I've been here. You can probably tell, not that a lot of people watch this, to be honest with you, but we're trying to work on that. One of my last episodes, I said most people stop after 3 or 7. I can't remember what it was. Said that was not going to be me, and here I am proving it. Life got busy. As you know, I'm a full-time ER physician. I'm married, got 2 kids, and got a lot going on. We moved, so we're finally settling down, getting a little bit easier in the schedule. So here we are for our next episode. So one thing you're going to notice is now we are in true 4K. My camera has recorded in 4K, 23.97 FPS, if you care. However, when it would export, it limited it to 1080p. So my capture card's 4K, but I just couldn't get the right resolution, couldn't figure it out until it finally clicked. So recording straight to the camera, we'll do the extra processing. Well, I will. Don't really have an editor, as you'll see in the credits. It's all me. So that's exciting. This is my 4th time filming this. Hopefully everything's going to work this time and we'll be good. But there's going to be a lot more jump cuts. I got rid of the scripts. This is just going to be me talking to you. I've got a few bullet points, but I did not script it all out because I think that's what you really want to see is true emotion. You want my input on everything, and here we go. Okay, the first thing we need to talk about is Charlie Kirk, right? Killed for speaking his mind. And really, it wasn't necessarily even speaking his mind. It was making other people think about what's in their mind. And he made a lot of people very uncomfortable by asking questions and asking them to defend their positions, which I think is really pretty normal, right? It's kind of what we all need to do. He didn't accept vague statements from people. He said, okay, that's your word. Now, what does it mean? How do you define that? Because if you don't have a definition, how can you debate? Like, what exactly are you debating? And his comment was always, violence starts when speaking stops. That was his thought. And they couldn't talk to him. They couldn't debate, and somebody killed. And it's really sad. I mean, what? It didn't have to happen. His wife, his kids, his fans. He was giving a voice to millions of kids across the country and embracing them where they were, interacting with them, and showing them there's a different path forward. He dropped out of college his freshman year, I believe, at 18 to start Turning Point, which became this massive $100 million nonprofit. And he started this at age 18, completely self-taught. And like he and Mike Rowe, like there are different ways to go rather than going to 4-year college and paying a whole bunch of money, going a whole bunch of debt to get trained for a career that may not exist. So I don't know, it's a sad statement on society, and it really breaks my heart to see that that can happen in our country. So I've heard a lot of people say, well, I mean, she shouldn't have been killed, but you know what he said? Okay, post it. What did he say that necessitated his murder? What was it? It's not there. There's nothing he said that necessitates murder. Think about your own life. What are you living for? What is the cause that you would die for? Where if your life ends now, what are people going to look back and say, oh, well, this is what he stood for. These are the people who are going to mourn you. And this is what your life was about. Is it just about us? Is it just about ourselves? Is it about something greater? For me, I'm married, got 2 kids. Like, I'm trying to do better at living for them. And that's kind of part of why it took, 2-3 months to put in a new podcast. But I'm just putting myself to the side a bit and really trying to focus in on them. Sports are getting busy. My older son's business career is taking off, and that's brought some challenges as parents since he's only 17. But it's just, that's what's important in life. And he even said he doesn't want to be remembered as a political leader. He wanted to be remembered as a Christian and a father and who lived his life for Jesus. Okay, so now let's take what happened to Charlie Kirk and him being eliminated and compare that to book bans. Now, if you've watched before, I can't stand the term book bans, at least in our country, because no book is banned. You can buy them pretty much anywhere. You can digitally download them in 3 seconds, carry them with you. Florida gets a bad rap saying they're banning all these books. No, they're not banning books. What they're doing is not requiring these books be taught if there are certain things that people object to. The teachers can still choose to have that book in an age-appropriate setting, and libraries are moving age-inappropriate books to a different section of the library that is age-appropriate, and that's even considered a ban. So first of all, that's ridiculous. But why is that happening? Well, it's because there's content in there that people don't think is appropriate for a particular audience. Because it, for whatever reason, there's a million arguments. Like, okay, well, the people that are upset about those book bans and thinks those words and those concepts should be shown to everyone and everywhere and we can all learn, those are the same people that are out there excusing the murder of Charlie Kirk. Literally a human who was erased, banned for words that came out of his mouth. But those same people want the books in the hands of elementary school kids that are completely age inappropriate. So why is he murdered for speaking to adults on college campuses? And well, it's what he said, but they want inanimate objects and books given to these elementary school kids without supervision. I mean, I'm sorry, your logic has to maintain no matter what scenario it's in. And unfortunately, that just doesn't. So where do we go now in our country? There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of angst. In my personal life, I mean, I'm pretty sad. Like, I didn't follow Charlie Kirk, so to speak. I knew who he was, listened to some of his reels, but there's only so many people you can follow. There's just not enough time in the day. And he just wasn't somebody I follow daily. But that doesn't mean I'm not upset about it or that it's not symbolic of a bigger problem in our country. So the question is, what are you going to do? Like, how do you react to this? Do you get mad? Do you get violent? Or do you get more focused and really try to get the stupid crap out of your life? The Netflix binge watching, we'll get to this later, but drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I mean, he didn't want to waste a single minute on Earth. And he didn't know he was going to die at 31. But so many people that knew him said he was the highest energy person that they knew. He didn't drink. Don't think so. Didn't use drugs. Everything was focused on pursuing his goals in life. And we have no idea how much time we have. So how much do you want to waste? How much do you want to look back and say, why did I do that? So personally, we're trying to get HOA approval. Going to put a big freaking flagpole up, big old American flag, fully lit. And that's just our way of doing it. I don't need to be in your face about what I believe, but you can passively look and say, oh, this guy supports his country. There you go. That's what I believe. Okay, moving on to the second topic, more healthcare. As you know, I'm a practicing ER physician and also an author, but that's where I get all my book ideas is from times in the ER in my imagination. But let's talk about overdoses. We had seen a ton of opioid overdoses over the years, right? I mean, 100,000 people a year dying. And unfortunately, those are kind of our teenagers and young adults, for the most part, that are getting killed by fentanyl that's coming in from foreign countries. It truly is chemical warfare, in my opinion. We're losing 100,000 fighting age people every year, and you can't tell me that's not intentional by our enemies. But that aside, the border's been closed, and man, opioid overdoses have really plummeted. I just really not seeing them. What's interesting is cocaine is going up because you can't get one thing, so they get another thing. Like, addiction is addiction, and it needs help. And yes, it's a disease. Don't cast people off because they have addictions, because we all have addictions. You don't believe me? How are you watching this? Is it on your phone? Put your phone down for 10 minutes and see how many times you want to grab it. Diet Coke, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, exercise, all kinds of things are addictions. So it's a problem in the brain, problem in the soul, but it affects pretty much all of us. But another interesting thing is when COVID hit, when the lockdowns first started, we were not seeing overdoses. We were not seeing anxiety attacks. We weren't seeing like psychotic breaks and things, which is a little surprising because the whole world was blowing up, right? Everybody thought they were going to die, but people were not coming into the ER with their mental health disorders. They just weren't. They weren't coming in for overdoses. I think it's because everybody's externally focused. They had something else to worry about, and then instead of the just death spiral inside their own heads. But that all changed the day the stimulus checks hit. Literally, the day the first stimmies hit people's account, overdose. And it was crazy. Like, I don't know if people didn't have money or they were worried about it and, whatever. But once they finally had cash, they went out and bought drugs, used the same dose that they'd been used to, but they didn't have the tolerance anymore. Bam, overdoses. I would love to know how many people the stimulus checks killed. Guarantee it's more than 0 and probably way more than 100. It just, I don't know. It's fascinating. But I bring this up because I saw something, I think it was TikTok, of course, right? A rot on our culture. Which, if you're watching this on TikTok, sorry, but it's true. Interesting, it doesn't rot other countries where it was created. It's used to rot us. That's back to some of the other things, topic for another day. But Benadryl overdoses, these kids are told, hey, take a bunch of Benadryl, you can get high. And yeah, it's true. It's called an anticholinergic toxidrome. One of the things is Mad as a Hatter because your brain goes nuts. That's from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter. But these kids are overdosing, and it causes cardiac arrhythmias. It causes you a dry mouth, kind of altered mental status. You can't urinate. Injured people, it can kill you. Another thing we see is people that want the Benadryl, but there's Tylenol in it. It's Tylenol PM. And now instead of just Benadryl toxicity and kind of the temporary high, you also have a Tylenol overdose. And The Benadryl goes away, you feel better, then 2 days later, you turn yellow and your liver dies. That's a horrible way to go. So talk to your kids, talk to your friends, stop doing this TikTok garbage, stop doing cinnamon challenges, stop doing any kind of thing that teens are saying, hey, can you do this more than me? Stop, unless it's exercise. But even that, I mean, don't go try to run 100 miles. Like, it's not a thing. Moderate, talk to your friends and family, stop using drugs, please. And now the one that's really going to probably irritate people, we got to talk about marijuana. So with marijuana, there's something called Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. If you happen to use THC products from time to time, you're probably not going to experience it. If you sit there every day throughout the day and vape high quantities of medical grade THC, you're probably going to experience it. Again, as an ER doctor, we see all kinds of THC overdoses, and people say there's no side effects. It's naturally occurring. It helps anxiety, depression, chronic pain. Yeah, it probably does at some level, but the dose makes the poison, right? That's the concept. So microdosing of things, I don't know what appropriate dosing is, but there can be benefits. But in excess and in certain people, there's big deficits and there's problems and there's side effects. And one of them is cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. It's a toxin buildup and it gets in your brain and it just causes chronic nausea and vomiting. And people come in puking for 3 days. We call it scromiting because they scream as they vomit and they're just miserable. Electrolyte disturbances, they get dehydration, their kidneys get into trouble. You get potassium problems, magnesium problems. You can get cardiac arrhythmias and it can kill you. And, these people that use that much tend to be the true believers. They're usually like 20, they're depressed, they have anxiety issues, and it's the only thing that helps. Okay, but it's also the only reason that you're in the ER tonight. And the problem is it's toxin buildup in the brain and in the tissue and in our fats. And it takes weeks and months to get that out of your system when you abstain. Like, your urine drug screen is going to stay positive for weeks and weeks and weeks. So until that toxin's out, it's still going to keep happening. So people come in a week later, I haven't used and I'm still sick. Right, you got about another 6 weeks to go. And until they actually embrace that, they're just going to keep coming back. That's why Haldol and droperidol, 2 psych meds, are the best drugs to treat that. Because again, it's a brain issue, it's a toxin issue, and yes, it's an addiction issue to THC. And again, the true believers and the people like, liberty, give me free, whatever, keep the government out of this. It would be legal if not for Eli Lilly and Pfizer and Merck and all of these people wanting to sell you their drugs. Like, okay, so you don't like the drug company that's making money keeping you sick. Well, how about the THC industry that is doing gigantic dosing of this stuff and massive concentrations of it, making a candy bar with freaking 1,000 milligrams of THC in it? People don't tolerate that. This is not the marijuana from the 70s that has low THC content. This is massively genetically engineered product made to get your most dollar per acre, your most dollar per plant, almost kind of like with the drug industry that you supposedly don't like. This is the exact freaking thing that the THC industry is doing. And the government's doing it also. They're like, oh, you want legalization? Fine. Rather than say, hey, we already have sales tax, we'll make our money off of that through a legal transaction. No. If you want this, we're going to put you 30% excise tax on it. And people are like, yeah, sure. So then now the legal marijuana is really expensive. So then people just still stay with the black market and you get all the other problems and the contaminants and adulterants that you have with the other problems because of the freaking government trying to make money off selling you your liberty. So again, have your logic and have it apply in all instances because this ain't it. Okay, now finally to the last section for today. We're going to talk about my books. I've got my 10th book just about to come out. It's a psychological thriller called The Streamer, and it's about a YouTube content creator who runs a sailing channel. His name's Brody. And he's got a very attractive girlfriend named Kat. She is from Portugal. And they cruise around on their boat, streaming content, making money. They're on their way down to this exploded volcano called the Blue Hole Atoll. And there's another guy who wants Kat because she's beautiful and he's watching her videos. And he's so focused on her that it's causing issues in his life, ends a relationship in a very traumatic way, to make room for her. Now they go to climb up this atoll and make this beautiful content that people are going to love, and that's where they run into trouble. And the question is he or she going to pay the price for paradise? There are clearly downsides to living that sort of life and putting your life out in public for everybody, so I kind of touch on that. But also, I love sailing, I love the tropics, and I put a lot of that into this book. So if you're into that sort of thing, I'd really like you to check it out. But if you really want a free book, and this is where it's great, I'm looking for a street team for The Streamer. I am looking for anybody who wants to read the book. I will give you the free digital copy once it's ready to go. There'll be a link in the description. You can sign up on BookFunnel, and once it's ready, you'll get a copy. I'd like you to read it. I'd like you to promote it on your social medias if you can as a thank you. And I'd like you to leave a review on Amazon. I'm not asking for 5 stars. I'm asking for an honest review, but I think you will like it. And then the next part is I want 20 people to be a street team. And you guys are going to get a physical copy of the book. Give me an address. I'll mail it to you. It doesn't have to be your home. It could be your work. It could be UPS store, whatever. I'll send you the book that's a signed copy. I'll give you some swag for my 3D printer that's book related as well. But this group of people, I'd really like you to be able to really promote on social media. I'd like a decent following. I'd like some Reels and TikToks and YouTube videos made. I'm just really trying to push my author career. Again, this is book 10. That's kind of a milestone. Really looking forward to going further with this. I'm going to do more Christian fiction. I've got a sequel for the book Sacrificial Touch, which is currently my favorite one. I've got book 5 that's going to come out for my Bryce Chapman medical thriller, and I'm working on a Christmas novel called, I don't know what it's called yet, but it has to do with a junk drawer. Everybody's got a junk drawer, and I think you can relate it, and then you're going to be screaming for this to be made into a Hallmark movie. So, episode 10 in the can, book 10 about to come out. Thanks for staying with me, and I hope you have a great week. Now go enjoy this beautiful gift of life.